But all right, we'd like to go ahead and bring in the next guest, another masked man. Hello, I'm Tom. Nice to meet you. This is Max.
Nice to meet you.
And we are live on the internet, just FYI. Keep that in mind.
Hi, internet.
But we're told that we're joined by one of the creators of Samourai Wallet, one of the most popular software platforms in Bitcoin. A really great wallet. So thank you so much for being on the show. And we'd like to keep your anonymity intact. So just welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. Happy to be here.
And how did you start with Samourai Wallet? What were the ideas behind the creation of this new wallet?
Well, in 2015, my partner and I were kind of dismayed with the current state of the Bitcoin wallet at the time. We felt like the major wallet providers were prematurely pushing for mass adoption. We called it the grandma paradox, where they were building.
They would keep saying, we want grandma to be able to use this wallet. And I'm like, I can't even get my friend who's technical to use the wallet. Let's start a little slower, right?
Right, exactly.
Man, look.
You give a kid a computer, and that's what he does, you know?
I have no clue how this works.
That was a good try. Yeah, the wallet, the grandma problem, and we kind of decided that, you know, one, your grandma's not using Bitcoin, and she's not going to use Bitcoin for a long time.
Yeah.
In the quest for the grandma wallet, all these popular wallets started taking out features, and these were features that my partner and I said, these are features that Bitcoiners need. So we decided we're going to build the wallet that no one else seems to want to build, with those features, with privacy, with security, and the rest is history. We've been doing it. So that was 2015.
And there are many, many great privacy features in the Samourai Wallet, and I enjoy all of them. And one thing that I really think is interesting is the Paynim system of reusable payment codes in Bitcoin. So could you please go a bit more into detail on what that actually is and how it preserves privacy?
Oh, sure. So Paynims, that's a big topic, but you can think of Paynims as mobile stealth addresses. So it's a way of sharing a payment code with counterparties, and those counterparties can then create a deterministic channel between those two senders. Those two senders then can generate private addresses for each other that only can be generated by those two participants. What this solves is I call it the first touch attack. It's like, hey, I am Mad Bitcoins, I want you to donate me some BTC, here's my BTC address. Well, now everyone knows that address is associated with Mad Bitcoins.
Right.
And no matter what, for the history of time, as those coins move, they are associated. Paynims get rid of that because there is no starting address. There is a payment code that you scan and connect to, and once that's been scanned and connected to, when you send, only the two counterparties with the private keys of those wallets can generate those addresses. So it's a very, very strong privacy tool, still very underused. Paynim.is, our directory has over 12,000 payment codes on there right now. We'd like to see a lot more soon.
Yeah. And it is already used, or Paynims are already used by Tallycoin. So that is, the public donations are a great use case for that. But Tallycoin also supports extended public keys. And they work similar, but could you go a bit more into the differences between extended public keys and Paynims?
So when you put your extended public key into Tallycoin, that means Tallycoin can view all balances and addresses and transaction history that have ever happened with that XPub, or extended public key. It's not a security concern. They can't spend it, they can't do anything like that, but it's a privacy concern. With payment codes, no one except for the two counterparties can determine transaction history, and they can only determine transaction history between each other, not with any other counterparties that I may transact with. So no one knows your address, essentially, including the server.
And it's always been a problem for me with a public donation address. Anyone can look at it. If they click back, you can always see who's donated. You can see how much money they have. Maybe they're generous, maybe they're not so generous. But we can always see that, and it's been horrifying. Certainly, I've made mistakes where I link my wallets together and everyone knows what I have now. And it's a tragedy, but I'll try to get through it. Is there anything else like that you guys are solving with Samourai Wallet that people might not know about?
Oh yeah, there's a whole suite of privacy tools that we have right now, or that we're working on. We have Ricochet in the wallet. Ricochet is a really useful tool if you're depositing into services that are somewhat vigorous in terms of their, KYC and AML policies.
Sure. I know Shapeshift was saying recently everyone trusted Shapeshift, but then they're like, our chain analysis guys are the best. We know where all that money's coming from. So.
Yeah, well, Shapeshift is one of them that we know of now. Coinbase is the traditional one who has always done it.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not, deriding them for it. They have a duty to do it. They have to do it.
Absolutely, they have to.
They don't really have a choice. They do not have to go as above and beyond as they do.
Right.
But they do. So Ricochet is a really useful tool for those types of services because what it does is it adds 5 additional hops of transaction history before your coins arrive at the destination. So in this case, let's say the deposit address.
Right.
That means for a pretty standard check, which goes back 5 transactions worth, they're not going to see anything that red flags, and your transaction will go through, no problem. So that's Ricochet. Stonewall is essentially a fake coin join.
Okay.
Where your wallet will generate a transaction that looks exactly like a coin join transaction, and not only looks like it, but is mathematically a coin join transaction in terms of when you analyze it before spending it, at least especially. Those are in the wallet today, Ricochet and Stonewall. Coming in the wallet very, very soon is Whirlpool Mobile Mixing, which is non-custodial, trustless mixing on your mobile device. And then after that, the question is, okay, you have all these private coins now. You've mixed, you've done all this great stuff. Okay, but you need to spend. Right? Like, you actually have to spend these things. So we've come up with a whole bunch of tools about what they're called the post-mix tools.
Okay.
And these are designed for spending after you've mixed without further eroding your privacy or the privacy of the others who are involved in the mix.
That's great.
So all those are coming out really soon.
So we can protect them as well. So both the sender and the receiver get an extra level of protection when they use that software.
Yeah.
And are there any other interesting things that might come into Bitcoin in the near future that will help us protect our privacy?
Into Bitcoin in the protocol level?
Yes, both on that and on the wallet side.
Well, I gave you a good rundown of the privacy stuff on the wallet side, at least that I'm willing to talk about publicly right now. On the protocol level, I mean, we're excited for Schnorr, we're excited for confidential transactions. We'd love to see that stuff happen on the protocol level. Personally, I'm not convinced we're going to see that happen on the protocol levels, at least not easily. It
might take another war.
What we had to do to get SegWit activated, which shouldn't have been contentious at all. I think adding privacy to the protocol layer is going to be very contentious to a lot of actors. And I don't think we saw anything with 2X or UASF.
No, they were largely unorganized, not funded by governments, not the kind of well-organized attack we could see in the future.
Yeah, so I anticipate that kind of landscape going forward, and that's sort of why we're building the tools that we're building. If for example, on Sunday we're going to be talking about our GoTenna mesh network, Mule Tools, offline broadcast stuff. All of that's around censorship resistance. All of that is at the point of maybe Bitcoiners have pushed governments too far at some point in the future, and they come down with an iron fist. We need to have the tools available to us to bypass that kind of response.
That's right, and Andreas always says if things get really bad, we could always embed our private keys in kitten pics and send them around, and they'll ban all the Instagrams and all the the picture sharing ones and so forth. But
well, that would be a net positive, I guess.
Yeah, there it is. Better for society, but harder to send your Bitcoin around. Is Samourai Wallet open source? Do you guys release the source code?
Yeah, absolutely. Samourai Wallet's open source. It's licensed under the unlicensed, so you can literally do whatever you want with it. And we've been open source for a number of years now.
And how do you make money with Samourai Wallet?
So we have been supported by a few private individuals who have a keen interest in privacy. We have no VC investors. And we're not looking for any. We have
You're not announcing your ICO right here. I know this is your first time on video. It's kind of an exclusive breakthrough here. Always a good time to launch an altcoin, right?
Well, keen observers will actually know that there is a Samurai token on the Counterparty network from very, very long time ago.
Sure.
And we actually use that to create the entity of Samurai.
Oh, okay.
Where my partner off camera has a certain amount of those tokens, I have a certain amount,
Sure.
and that's how we track our ownership of a decentralized entity. So in that case, yeah, those are tokens, and you can't buy them, and we're not selling them.
That's the best way to get people interested.
But
you can't have any of these. Yeah.
What I will say though is all of our users who engage in Ricochet right now are supporting us. We take a small fee on that transaction, and it's huge for us. That really helps keep the bills paid. That keeps the servers going for the most part. So
absolutely, and small transactions like that can add up. As we have our fundraiser over here, you send us $10. We do all right if 1 million people send us $10. And the same thing for Samourai Wallet. It gives you guys an incentive to get more people to use it. More people use it, you get more small fractional fees, and then you can work on new features and other things.
I mean, I'll have 10 million people give me $1.
Yeah. It could be lower, yeah.
Or 1 million people give me,
Or one person could just drop 10 million on this code right here, right now. We won't stop you.
Like any of that?
Yeah, if there's 10 million in there tomorrow, of course, we'll be running around to everybody. Yeah.
Well, maybe, but not so sure.
Trust us. Trust us. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, mesh networks are really, really interesting. And a couple of friends and I had the great idea of getting a few people in our local community go tennis, right, so that we can build up this mesh network. And then one of us would get a satellite receiver and sender or transmitter that connects to the amazing Blockstream satellites. So would that be a way of using mesh networks and a satellite to transfer magic internet money?
Yeah, I guess so. I think that is a good idea, right? We didn't go the route with the Blockstream satellite. That's the next step, and that would be a very cool step. Mule Tools, which is on the back of my hoodie. Mule Tools is our research and development initiative at Samourai Wallet, all about censorship-resistant transactions and the tools and the software we can build to make that a reality. It was about a year ago that we came up with the idea of SMS-based transaction broadcasting. We, through Mule Tools, built out a proof of concept app called Pony Direct, which allowed SMS-based transaction broadcasting. We've extended that now with an app called TX10, which we'll be releasing shortly after HCCB ends. Extends SMS to also include GoTenna Mesh Network. So you will be able to do transaction broadcasting via GoTenna Mesh Network. If any of your listeners or you yourself would like to further that by extending it towards the Blockstream satellite and actually pushing that transaction via that method, we would absolutely encourage you to contribute to Mule Tools on our GitHub repository, because that's something we're interested in as well.
So no matter where you are in the world, you could send Bitcoin through a text message?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's anywhere in the world. Anyone can act as an SMS relay. We include a UK-based SMS relay number, which is a thing I have in my shed.
Sure.
And
anyone else could build one in their country. They could add to this network. They could make it stronger by participating.
All you have to do is let your friends know what your phone number is, as they probably
Sure.
already know. And you can let them know, hey, you can push your transactions through me.
Huh.
And that's as simple as that.
That's fantastic. And I know we were just talking to Smuggler about VPNs and how difficult it can be to anonymize your internet transactions and privacy. What do you think about those technologies? Are VPNs moving in the right direction?
It's hard to say. We implemented within Samourai Wallet, as a part of the first alpha in 2015, VPN and Tor support. At the time, many wallets wouldn't work at all.
Sure, you just cut off the dark web, and Coinbase doesn't have to worry now, right?
That was the idea, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So that was implemented very early on. Both the technologies come with some drawbacks in terms of user experience and in terms of us having to deal with support issues stemming from connection problems, stemming from Tor not being on when the wallet
Lag,
thinks it should
having
be
to
on.
wait and be patient.
Lag.
I know I have no patience, so it's always a
and
problem.
It's a big issue in terms of support and experience. I think that if you can find a quality VPN, you're going to have a better experience than with Tor.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's more private.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying.
And even
you
Tor,
know,
who knows if
right,
that's private?
I'm not
right?
saying any of that.
Yeah,
I'm saying
yeah.
experience-wise, you'll have a better experience. Now, I personally run my own VPN server, and I feel very comfortable with that.
Right.
One of the most recent features that you push to Samourai Wallet is a feature that I've been waiting for a long time, and that is kicking out all the fiat currencies from the app.
Oh,
That
yes.
is amazing.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Why
yeah.
did you do that?
Well, I wrote a very long blog post about why I did it. The long story short is I was always the one at Samourai keeping fiat in the wallet.
Oh.
I was always the one saying users are not ready, it's too early, this and that, and I've had a bunch of people come to me today and tell me that in this conference, you're too early, users aren't ready, this and that.
Okay.
Users will never be ready, for one, and two, when you actually think about it, fiat has no place in a Bitcoin wallet because it's a Bitcoin wallet. There is no fiat in there. Most people, when they transact, they are transacting by scanning a QR code with an amount encoded. That's all you really need to worry about. So then I would say 80 to 90% of users of Samourai Wallet are scanning a QR code with an amount encoded, have zero experience loss. There is a small number of experienced Bitcoiners who do not scan QR codes with amounts encoded. Maybe they go out to eat and the restaurant shows them a QR code and tells them the amount in fiat. Oh, that'll be 12 euros. Yes, they're going to have an experience problem because now they have to figure out what the price is to get 12 euros. However, someone else would have had the problem. The merchant would have had the problem when they looked at their wallet 2 days later and said, hey, I thought that was 12 euros, but now it's 6.50. What's going on? That's it. I'm done with this Bitcoin thing.
Yeah.
That happens a lot. Our support tickets increase dramatically. As users increase dramatically, the sophistication level drops. And we find ourselves teaching users, you don't have USD in your wallet. You have BTC. And, well, look, we're a very small team. We're self-funded. We're not going to hire a million support guys to deal with this. We have things to do, and we're not really interested in teaching you how to use crypto. So we're going to put that on to the users who are going out there and spreading it to teach those people, teach those new users the right thing. It's not as, oh, I'm sending you $5. Stop saying that to people. Tell them how much you're sending them in BTC or in Satoshis, and make sure they understand that the value, it changes, it fluctuates daily, minutely.
Exactly, and we always say 1 Bitcoin is 1 Bitcoin. But when we have fiat amount in the wallet, that obfuscates that message. And I'm 100% with you there. We need to make sure that we are clear in saying either the Satoshi amount or the Bitcoin amount of what we are actually selling or sending, right? Because as soon as you send it, there have been happening a couple trades on Poloniex and the price has changed, right? There are exchanges happening for Bitcoin and fiat all the time, 24/7. And each exchange is going to change the price of Bitcoin. So we really have to be clear and kick out fiat because, I mean, fiat is the fluctuating currency, right? Fiat is the unstable and fragile system that we want to get rid of. And if we want to have a pure, sound money, we need to have that as unit of account eventually. And the sooner we go on the path, the better.
Yeah. Also from an experience standpoint, the wallet exchange rate was never the same as the merchant's exchange rate.
Right, yeah.
And what you would actually end up happening is, even Samourai Wallet, you couldn't do this because, well, we have competent developers. But in some wallets, honestly, if you scan a BIP21 QR code, which is a QR code with an amount encoded, some wallets will actually allow you to change the amount that you're sending, which is crazy. So what would happen is, a user would scan a QR code, let's say they're buying something for 20 euros, but the wallet says 25 euros. They would actually change it to 20 euros and send. And of course, that's no good. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
BitPay used this rule or this issue as a justification for putting out BIP 70, which is an enormous. Can I curse on here?
Oh, absolutely.
An enormous clusterfuck. all because
That's a term of art anyway.
all because they say at least all because people were sending the wrong amount to them. Well, they do BIP 21. Scan a QR code. The wallet locks it, so you can't change the amount. Done. Problem solved.
I can see what you're saying about having the same amount of Bitcoin in my wallet, and every time I look at it, the same amount would be there. It's kind of relaxing, not seeing the fiat ups and downs, but it is a little early. It's kind of like Steve Jobs taking away the floppy drive and then taking away the optical drive, and recently Apple took away all my ports, and I really miss my ports. I carry around a bag full of dongles now. It's kind of the same, and you'd have to Google search the amount and then agree that that's the amount, but I suppose it is just one more step.
How often are you transacting that way, you personally? How often are you negotiating which fiat rates you're going to do versus just scanning a QR code?
It's generally I'm giving out to new people.
Right.
I'll set them for $1. Maybe I should be saving at 0.001 or something.
Well, that's
right?
why I say, as now we're putting the responsibility on the people who are going out and driving the adoption. I mean, people like you going out and evangelizing are
Sure.
very important, but we've become lazy doing that.
That is true.
Because we've done it so often.
And then people think they have $1 in their account forever, and really they have a 0.001 or whatever it is.
And we're happy to let them think that because it's easier to explain.
It is easier
We
to
go,
explain.
Hey, I'm sending you $1 worth of Bitcoin.
But they get mad. It goes to 80 cents or it goes to $1.20 and they get happy. And
Right.
really it should be a Bitcoin value.
Right, so it's on you now to actually, when you're evangelizing and bringing people into the fold, to really have to explain it to them because you don't have the crutch of fiat anymore.
More,
At least if you're using Samurai.
more responsibility for me, but I'll take it. And I can see that you're also leading it forward. The kind of thing, after Apple got rid of the floppy drive, everyone got rid of the floppy drive. And I thought I couldn't live without it. How am I going to reinstall Windows and so on and so forth? But we all got through it. And thankfully, I haven't installed Windows in a long time. It's been really nice.
That being said, you'll never catch me with those AirPods in my ear.
Oh, they look pretty bad. It's very spacey. But yeah, I always think when people see them, I'm kind of asshole. Yeah.
And the unit of account is always the last step that the money will fulfill. First, it's a store of value, first it's a digital collective or collectible. Second, it's a store of value. Third, it's a medium of exchange. And then fourth is the unit of account. So what you're doing is kind of like saddling the horse backwards, right? You're starting to change the unit of account aspect of the money, which is always the last thing that will come there.
Not really. I mean, I would say we were doing that if we were a merchant and we were pricing all of our goods in BTC.
Okay, yeah.
But we're a Bitcoin wallet.
Yeah.
We only have one asset, and that's BTC. So no, I don't. There is only one underlying asset, BTC, and that the underlying of that is Satoshi's, right? So Sats. I wasn't trying to start a big push to going towards using Sats. Honestly, I just thought it was weird when you toggle, not having something to toggle to in the wallet, which before you would toggle it between BTC and Fiat. So I said, well, let's just have it toggle between BTC and Sats, because then at least people will start to understand the relationship between BTC and Sats. And it's actually really easy. If you start on BTC, toggle it, you just see the decimal disappear, and the number of zeros change. You have an idea now. You have some sort of underlying understanding of what it is inside of your wallet.
And I mean, asking you, the audience, what does sound more badass? Sending 1 million Satoshis or sending 0.01 Bitcoin? Well, clearly it is 1 million Satoshis. So switching to Satoshis is, in my opinion, quite nice.
Yeah, good. I'm happy. I'm glad you like it. I personally go 001 if I'm doing that's how I talk when I'm doing Bitcoin stuff. But I think it's just because we've been here for a very long time, and that's the native language to us, or to me and some of the guys at Samourai. But I can see the appeal to users with that unit bias who want 1 million of something versus 0.01 of something.
And I definitely like Satoshis as a base unit as opposed to all this bits and chips and whatever it is. A 0.1 means this and a 0.001 means this, and I never have any idea. I always have to look it up. Is this MBTC? Is this KBTC. I have no idea what any of these things mean.
Well,
At least
I see Jimmy's
Satoshi's.
song out there, so I'm not gonna trash bits too much. But
It's another level of
not a
confusion
chance.
for me.
No,
Yeah, I
just,
don't see it.
I'll
So.
say it right here, right now. There's not a chance. No bits in Samourai Wallet.
There we go.
There's not a chance. We're not adding Fiat back, so you can stop asking. Is there anything else that I forgot?
I'm not getting my floppy drive back either.
Cahoots is. Yeah, my partner over here said I should talk about Cahoots. Cahoots is, we haven't really brought it up at all, but it's part of the post mix that I was explaining.
Uh-huh.
After you've mixed, you need a way to transact privately.
Sure.
One of the post mix transactions is called stowaway, and what stowaway is an idea that Greg Maxwell came up with in 2013. We unearthed on the Bitcoin Talk forums.
Awesome.
You know, and the idea was just so cool. What ends up happening at the final end, because I won't go on too much, is the inputs and output amounts in the transaction on the blockchain are just completely wrong. They're just wrong.
Yeah.
So you're essentially obfuscating the amount being transacted within a Bitcoin transaction. This doesn't require any protocol changes or anything like that. What it does require is a small bit of trust between you and someone else. And not trust that because they can steal your keys, but just trust because they can see that particular UTXO that you're working with at that time.
Right.
So we have something called Cahoots, which is our trust layer. And the Cahoots trust layer is powered by Paynims, which we talked about right at the beginning.
Right.
And the reason it's powered by Paynims goes back to a question you asked about why not use XPubs? Well, I already answered it, right? Because the server would know about everything. Our server will know nothing about anything. All it will know is Paynims. So that's what Cahoots is. It's a trust layer between payment codes that are going to power all sorts of post-mix transactions for your privacy.
Well, okay, but then if you do not know the precise amount of inputs and outputs that you're sending, how can we make sure that there's no additional UTXOs created or no additional coins inflating the money supply?
You're talking about the amounts on the blockchain being wrong? quote
Yes,
unquote?
in the Cahoots system.
Well, to the users, it will be correct. It's just to casual or to observers, it's wrong because you're essentially swapping UTXOs with people in an offline sort of way, right? So you're saying I'm gonna send 1 Bitcoin, but I'm taking one of your UTXOs, I'm adding one of my TXOs on the output side. One of them is going back to you. This one's coming back to me. Everyone's going to get the right amount of BTC that was specifically requested. But when it's not as straightforward as looking at it on the blockchain. You'll look at that on the blockchain and, well, basically you'll have to start questioning every single transaction you're looking at.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
That's a very good thing. Oh yes, absolutely.
Because that just muddies, it makes the set much larger. Yeah.
And it gives you more privacy even if you're not using the Cahoots protocol, right?
No, both parties need to be in cahoots, so to speak. Both parties need to be in cahoots for this. And again, this is something you would do after you've mixed, after you've whirlpooled. If you wanted to, spend to bit refill, for example, you would, do it as normal, but you're just saying, hey, I want this to be a cahoots or a stowaway transaction. On the blockchain, on that, if you look at that TX, the amounts might not be correct, but bit refill is getting the right amount. At the end of the day, they know what they're getting, and their wallet sees it, and you know what you've sent. Your counterparty, like I said, you have to have some sort of trust in them, or otherwise they could see the UTXOs that you're working with. It's not a security issue; it's just a privacy issue.
So is this the pay-to-endpoint scheme?
It's sort of like that. Yeah, I think it's a general idea, except I don't believe they're using payments.
And I think this is a really great idea, what you guys are doing with Samourai Wallet, that you're both trying to protect the person sending and the person receiving, and that we're working holistically on this entire system to bring everyone up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely right.
And does it work for iPhone and Android, or what platform?
So Samurai is on Android only right now. We'll be on iOS in early next year, I would say.
I'm definitely waiting.
Yeah.
I'm one of those pesky iOS users out there.
It's in development. We have our guy. He's working hard on it. Sentinel iOS will be coming out pretty shortly after HCPP.
And do you have a similar architecture? I was talking to the guy from Green Address, and he said they have an underlying layer that's kind of open source. Then they're going to build the interfaces on top. Do you have something like that for the iOS and Android version, so they'd be together a little?
Sort of.
Yeah.
We're going to be releasing open source our entire backend within
Great.
the next few months.
Awesome.
Which will allow users to run that on top of their Bitcoin Core nodes and completely bypass our servers entirely.
Excellent.
Which is huge, which is really huge.
Yeah, yeah.
That's actually the one thing that's keeping us out of full release. In 2015, I pledged on Reddit, I said we will not go 1.0 until our backends are fully open source and you can bypass us entirely.
Awesome.
Until that point, you have to trust us a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not trust because we can't steal anything, we can't do anything like
Sure.
that. But we could make you see the wrong information.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're trusting our nodes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So this will bring the power of your node plus our software on top. That will be open source and freely available for users to download.
That sounds great. And I know Green Address does have kind of a centralization problem where a lot of your transactions go through their servers, and if they're logging it, then they get forced by the government to give up the logs, and suddenly everything's public again. So
Yeah, and it's a problem of any centralized solution like that, right?
Right.
Luckily, what are you really going to do with broadcast transaction logs? But it's something
still,
for them to ask for.
It's more strands to pull. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's more strands to pull. So this will be a huge win for users' privacy. Absolutely.
And one feature that is already in the Samourai Wallet is that you can connect to your own full node.
Yeah.
And why is that important and why is that useful?
Well, that's another big topic of a whole node.
Opening a whole nother can of worms here.
I said a short one. Look, it's incredibly important to run your own full node. It's really, truly only way to interact with Bitcoin without having to trust other people. So I do suggest for users who have experienced some Bitcoin, have some knowledge, to take the next step and try to run your own full node. Once you do that, you can connect your Samourai wallet to that full node, and you can use that full node right now to broadcast your transactions. So that actually solves the issue of the TX logs that Green Address would have, for example.
Sure.
And we have actually. We don't keep logs for I think longer than 24 hours, but
Still,
but
that's a
we still
window.
have
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
so.
You could just be waiting there by the
So
machine. Yeah.
this in Samourai Wallet allows users to bypass that today. Within the next few months, like I said, when we release our backend, they'll not only be able to bypass our servers for transaction pushing, but they'll also be able to bypass it for everything, which like querying the blockchain,
Right.
getting balances, getting unspent transactions, getting all the stuff that a wallet needs to do.
Sure.
They'll be able to do it on their own computer.
Sounds fantastic.
Okay, and then maybe one last opening of a huge another can of worms is that, as far as I know, but please correct me, is that you're currently using SPVs with direct bloom filters.
No.
Okay,
That
good.
was fast.
Well, but the question is, are you planning on integrating the neutrino client for querying with full nodes?
I'm not familiar with it. Is this the new SPV type that I think Wasabi's doing as well?
Yes, it was developed by Reusable for the
Yeah,
Library
yeah,
Labs,
okay, we're
and
talking about the
Wasabi
same
has already implemented it,
Yeah.
and it uses inverted bloom filters, which gives you a much higher anonymity set of possible transactions that you control.
Maybe. There's no plans right now. We'll see how other people's experiences are with it. Our architecture we've been working on this for a long time now, since 2015. It's able to scale very well. It's fast. Users who use Sentinel always come to us and say, "I can't believe how fast this is." There's no syncing, there's no waiting around, there's none of that. You open it up and there's your balance. I think there's something to be said for that. And because we're releasing our open source backend, the privacy implications that you did have before by maintaining a connection to Samourai for all of this stuff is now it's been taken care of. So it would just be chasing the latest tech if we were to do that. And we're not about chasing the latest tech. We're about looking at what's out there and making strategic decisions to take our goal further. So that's one of the reasons why we're not implementing Lightning right now, because there's no privacy benefit to Lightning right now. It's too early. when we see that, we're on it. But until we see it, it's a distraction.
Well, perfect. And it really is, we really need to figure out how to write this code with high quality and with high security. And yes, advancing the tech, like implementing Lightning early is interesting. But again, like, we have time for that, right?
And we have others that are doing a great job of it. Why would you don't need Samourai to do it when you have HC and IQ doing it, when you have Stark and her operations? I mean, those people live and breathe Lightning. They should be the ones building that stuff out. We live and breathe privacy. That's what we're going to focus on right now. Again, when we see that intersection, and we have ideas around where that intersection could be in Lightning. It's just a matter of whether it gets there or not.
All right, well, thank you so much for being on the show. And where can people learn more and download Samourai Wallet?
You can download Samourai Wallet in the Google Play Store. You can go to samouraiwallet.com, and you can follow us on Twitter. I think it's at Samourai Wallet.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And we're glad to talk about it.
And thank you so much for dedicating a lot of your time on building this amazing software, and keep it up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, and we're just going to keep going live. Thanks so much to the guys from Samourai Wallet for joining us. It was fantastic to talk about it, and it was great to get these privacy features back into Bitcoin. We're going to look at bringing in some more guests, but we're joined by Dan, Crypto Raptor. How's it going, Dan?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
How's the conference up there? We're getting a little bogged up in this box here.